Hey guys, how you doing? I thought I'd make a video and show my face because I know there's some people out there that think that I'm kind of speaking when I'm doing just with the voiceover bit, and it's not me, but it's me. I don't know why people think that, but it is me, trust me. I wanted to read you this story that was on the BBC website on the 29th of January. And it was entitled, some of you must have seen this, it was entitled "Office Puts Chips Under Staff's Skin." There was actually 539 comments on this story on the BBC, and you really should go and check it out. The link's going to be below. And I'll read it to you. Want to gain entry to your office, get on a bus, or perhaps buy a sandwich? We're all getting used to swiping a card to do all these things. But at Epicenter, a new high-tech office block in Sweden, they are trying a different approach, a chip under the skin. Felicio da Costa, whose company is one of the tenants, arrives at the front door and holds his hand against it to gain entry. Inside, he does the same thing to get into the office space he rents, and he can also wave his hand to operate the photocopier. So straight away, they're building it up to be something, you know, really great, and everyone's going to want to do it. And it's actually saying, do you want to get into your office? Do you want to get on a bus or perhaps buy a sandwich? Straight away it's there. Now, for those that already know, you know, London buses, you can't use cash on London buses anymore. It's contactless. You have to have the chip in the oyster to be able to use the bus and travel on the bus. So here they're saying that, you know, you don't have to pay for the bus at all because your RFID chip is just going to do it for you. Read the rest of this. That's all because he has a tiny RFID, radio frequency identification chip, about the size of a grain of rice implanted in his hand. Soon, others among the 700 people expected to occupy the complex will also be offered the chance to be chipped. I can't believe what I'm reading. So this is a company in Sweden who are getting their staff members to put a chip in their hand, an RFID chip, just so they can open a door and so they can use a photocopier. This is ridiculous. Right, so among the 700 people expected to occupy the complex will also be offered the chance to be chipped. Along with access to doors and photocopiers, they're promised further services in the longer run, including the ability to pay in the cafe with a touch of a hand. On the day of the building's official opening, the developer's chief executive was himself chipped live on stage, and I decided that it was to get to grips with this technology, I had to bite the bullet and get chipped too. This is the author of this saying that he also got a chip in his hand the day he wrote this story when he was at the building in Sweden. The whole process is being organised by a Swedish biohacking group, which was profiled by my colleague Jane Wakefield recently. One of its members, a rather fearsome-looking tattooist, inserted my chip. First he massaged the skin between my thumb and index finger and rubbed in some disinfectant. Then he told me to take a deep breath while he inserted the chip. There was a moment of pain, but not much worse than any injection, and then he stuck a plaster over my hand. Before trying my chip out, I wanted to know more about the thinking behind it. Hans Zijblad, whose electronic business card is on his own chip and can be accessed with a swipe of a smartphone, has the title Chief Disruption Officer at the development. I asked him whether people really wanted to get this intimate with technology. We already interact with technology all the time, he told me. Today it's a bit messy. We need PIN codes and passwords. Wouldn't it just be easier to just touch with your hand? That's really intuitive. So this thing is coming, guys, that we've all been talking about. Anyone in the know that's seen my other videos, I'll put the link below. Been going on about this. They want a cashless society, they want us all chipped, and they want us all you know, to be paying, swiping our hand, and it's coming. You know, it's coming into the workplace. It trickled onto the buses slowly, cashless. You know, you've got other things where you can't pay cash now, and I can't think now off the top of my head the other video that I made. Oh yeah, the contactless cards was the first thing that came in. So they introduced the contactless card, which got a chip in it. And you can pay contactlessly to get you used to just swiping and then to progress to have it in your hand. I think this is crazy, and any workplace who tells their staff members that they have to be chipped, you know, you want to leave that place. I think they are given a choice though here in this piece. Let me just check it right. So before trying out the chip, he wanted to know more about the thinking behind it. And the guy said that we already interact with technology and it's a bit messy. We need PIN codes and passwords. When I tested my chip, I found that it was not at all intuitive. I had to twist my hand into unnatural positions to make the photocopier work. And while some of the people around the building were looking forward to being chipped, others were distinctly dubious. Absolutely not, said one young man. Well done you. When asked him if he'd sign up. An older woman was more positive about the potential of the technology, but saw little point in being chipped just to get through a door. Which is true. You know, by the time you've swiped your hand to get through the door, you've pushed the door open. What's the point? Yeah? But Hans Zizleblad says he and the Swedish biohacking group have another objective, preparing us all for the day when others want to chip us. We want to be able to understand this technology before big corporates and big government come to us and say everyone should get chipped. The tax authority chip, the Google or Facebook chip. Then he says, we'll all be able to question the way the technology is implemented from a position of much greater knowledge. I've returned to, this is the guy who wrote this now, and the guy that got the chip speaking again. I've returned to Britain with a slightly sore hand and a chip still under my skin, which has my contact details on. Not that useful, but no doubt more sophisticated chips will soon replace wearable technology like fitness bands or payment devices, and we will get used to being augmented. All sorts of things are possible, whether it becomes culturally acceptable to insert technology beneath the skin. Our skin is another matter. So this really does freak me out, the story, the way it's read, and it's even going on about some biohacking group who are doing it, and you know, who are taking part in this, and their objective is to prepare us all for the day when others want to chip us. So they're preparing us all for the day when others want to chip us by themselves chipping people. So it's a bit, you know, again, double talk and some strange shit going on here. Trying to make out that some activist group is like, you know, wanting people to be chipped. But, you know, he's also saying about the tax authority chip, the Google or the Facebook chip. You know, they're going to start to bribe you because they want everybody to be chipped. So they're going to start to bribe you, and, you know, people will get a bit desperate. You know, if you haven't got a chip, you can't use Facebook. Now, you're already addicted to Facebook. So would you say no to the chip? If it meant that you couldn't use Facebook, would you say no? I think there's a lot of people out there who would happily take the chip just to be on Facebook. And, you know, even if they turn around and said without the chip, there's no internet, then goodbye internet, because I am not going to put anything like that in my body because I do not know who's controlling it. And it's like, you know, someone controlling your details and your bank details, and someone controlling your money and stuff. And it also puts into my mind as well, you know, how do you know, if you see somebody homeless and sometimes you can buy them a drink or something to eat, or sometimes you want to, I see people give them change, you want to give them some change. How are you going to do that in a cashless society? How do you feed the homeless? They haven't got a chip and we haven't got a scanner. How do you give a birthday present? You know, it takes away a lot of stuff as well, and it takes away, I think it takes away a lot of our power, because someone will be in charge of that chip in our body, and someone will be able to activate it, and someone will be able to deactivate it if they want to. You know, I see a lot of bad stuff coming up if this is going to be brought in, and if it's starting to come into the workplace, then, you know, it's on the buses, it's cashless on the buses. Mate, if they start creeping it into the shops, it's going to be cashless. And it's only going to be contactless. And I did say that if that does happen, there'll be a lot of crimes, because people will be stealing other people's cards just to go and make payments themselves. But that's what the government wants, to then be able to say it would be safer for everyone to have the chip in their hand, and it would just make everything safer. And they're going to use safety. If you've got a chip in your hand, we can read your medical details. If you've got a chip in your hand, we'll be able to find you if you get lost. You know, there's going to be all these things they're going to be doing to bribe you into taking it, into having this chip in your body. But like I said, I am not going to put anything in my body that I don't know who is controlling it. Don't accept the chip. Stay away from Big Pharma. If you caught my video yesterday about the case study that they did where 797 people actually had dementia after taking over-the-counter drugs for 3 years. So stay away from Big Pharma. Try to wean yourself off it. I know there's a lot of people who are very addicted to this stuff, you know, and they've got you addicted, and you've just fallen into line with what you're supposed to do, you know. Just be a good boy, be a good girl, stand in line, wait for your prescription drugs, take them, and maybe just be a little bit like that for the rest of the term, you know, because they've got people not thinking, and it's like people are getting depressed on these things. Right guys, so I hope you have that in mind, and I'll put the link below and you can go ahead and read the story yourself, and I'll also put the links to a couple of videos that I did do on the RFID and contactless, so you can catch up on those if you haven't seen them already. And I just want to say one love to all my subs, and thanks for everyone that's been really sending me all lovely messages and being really supportive while I've been away. I didn't make any videos for about 3 months, so I'm back now. Anyway, peace out.
As our missions desire.